to this computer.
There we go.
All right, that way we can share it with folks who couldn't make it. And if you guys want it, we'll send you the recording if there's stuff you just didn't get the information on quite nailed down. So Washington State Housing Finance Commission is a nonprofit that does most of the down payment assistance financing through lenders like myself in Washington State. And they got a lot of great programs. And again, they've been around about as long as I have in this business. And so I've always used them. We teach classes, 5-hour classes that help people to qualify as first-time home buyers or not, or even second-time home buyers, whatever, and gets them the money for down payment, because that's one of the biggest problems with people getting into homes. Once they got the income and the credit, saving money for down payment. So that's been very helpful over the years. So Washington State, the legislature, now, I don't remember being asked, I don't remember voting on it, but they came up with a program, and what they wanted to do was, oh, I figured we'd have somebody else popping in here. Welcome. So what they want to do is make up for the fact that prior to 1968, April of 1968, when the Fair Housing Act came out, a lot of people would be discriminated against. If they wanted to move in a certain area, they had covenants, that's where this term came from, that would say, we don't want any blankety blanks living here. You can't buy a home here if you are, I'll give an example, Black, right? Mexican, Indian. I believe that sometimes it was even like no unmarried couples, right? Which, I mean, there was discrimination. These things have been illegal since 1968. There still might be a covenant on a property that says that, because they can't unrecord it, but it doesn't matter. It's unenforceable, right? It can't be done. Matter of fact, big trouble for that. And I've always loved that about the mortgage business. We not only do we are prohibited from discriminating, we actually track people's behaviors. And if, say, someone like Wells Fargo gives higher rates to certain races, they get a big old lawsuit. I don't know where the money goes, but it goes somewhere out of their pocket into the government's anyway. So the covenant program was built to where every time somebody records a real estate document in Washington State, $100 is an additional charge that goes into this program, and it's the whole statewide, and it's managed by the Washington State Housing Finance Commission for down payment money. And what they're trying to do, they've been trying to figure out for the last year, I've been following along and helping, is how to direct that money, because now they're collecting the money. It's coming every time you record something. We've all seen an increase in the fees and closing costs. I mean, I've had people with a quitclaim deed. I've had people sell their house, buy a house. You're paying higher recording fees to record the documents. So that's what Washington State is doing. That's where the money comes from. So let me a little bit more about this program just to kind of understand it, because my first thought was, so aren't we discriminating? And so, yes, to some degree you are, but this is the loophole around allowing them to do that. All right. So it's called a special purpose credit program. And that allows them basically to say, look, we want to target certain individuals who have been underserved and serve them better, right? You can't just, we're trying to, it's the difference between equality and equity. And I'm not even going to get into that conversation, but that's not my place. But what I can tell you how the program works and what we do to help people with it. So again, this is part of the Equal Credit Opportunity Act. It's working for economically disadvantaged groups. So I just to kind of speed dial this for you, what I mean is, if you're from an ethnic or racial group that has a lower level of home ownership than your average old white guy, right? I don't, however they break it down, that's again not my business. But then that group is going to qualify for this down payment assistance program. So I'll give you a little more information on that. So it is a down payment assistance loan. It's not a grant. It's not free money, but there's no payments and there's no interest accruing on it. You have to be owner occupied. The individual who is eligible for this. So this is the part that's kind of outside the box here. So the person who qualifies for this, so we got another person coming in. The person who qualifies for this may not be the home buyer. But the person who triggers the ability to use this loan is a Washington resident, was here before 1968. That person, it could be the grandfather of the borrower, the father, the mother, the grandmother, the great grandfather, great grandmother, whatever. of the borrower. So it's I started focusing on this because I help a lot of seniors, and one of the things they want to do is help their kids and their grandkids, and we're able to do that without them having to write the check, right? So they can keep the money for themselves as financing is getting tighter and tighter for people of retirement age. So you got to be a Washington resident prior to 1968.
Or your lineage,
your lineage was. Yeah. I just talked to somebody yesterday that we're helping. Mom was here before 68. She was a member of one of the Indian tribes. So she's going to allow him to qualify. He and his wife, who wouldn't qualify, but because they're together, now they qualify for, we can get them up to $150,000 in down payment assistance.
$150,000.
Yeah. So
0% interest on the backside alone, no payment.
That makes a big difference for a lot of people who are like, well, I qualify for 400. And then you're like, well, good luck finding a $400,000 house where you want to live, especially
Mike, can I interrupt for a second? So then they would all have to live together?
No. That's why the questions are great. Thank you. No, the person I'll give best example I can give. Or the loan that we're getting ready to the people we're going to help buy a house right now. So they both have good jobs. They make below the median income in Washington State. That's $147,000 a year, qualifying income. They together they make less than that. So they qualify for that. They're first-time home buyers. They qualify for that. Their mother, his mother lived in Washington State prior to 1968. So because of that, we have to prove that she lived here. We have to prove that she's a member of one of the racial or ethnic groups that is qualified. So I know she has tribal, designation. Now she now is going to allow them to qualify. She has nothing to do with the loan. She doesn't even have to still be alive. To be honest, we just have to prove she was there, they were related, and that she fit the guidelines.
Exactly. That was a great question.
Yeah, that's a great question because I don't want to give the wrong idea. I like veterans, for instance, are great. So there's people who might have been stationed here in the 60s. We had this little Vietnam War thing going on, and people were coming through here, maybe from other states, but they were here for a while. If they can prove they were here before 1968, April of 1968, then their children, if they happen to live here, now we can help them to buy a home. So we're really looking, we've always looked together. This is where we've gotten along. We've really looked through loopholes of how to help people, especially during these last few years where home affordability is harder.
Yeah. Well, so getting back to the 150,000, it's 20% down payment up to 150,000, right?
Correct. That's correct.
So doesn't that mean no PMI insurance?
Yeah, there's no reason for PMI mortgage insurance. If you put less than 20% down, a lot of programs will require mortgage insurance. So you don't have that. It's not going to be a factor because you're guaranteed to be able to get 20% down up to $150,000. So a $500,000 house, for instance, well, there's $100,000.
Right.
You only have to borrow $400,000. There's no mortgage insurance, a lower payment,
and there's more.
But wait, there's more. We'll also finance the closing costs at zero interest and zero payments.
It's on the backside of your loan, all your closing costs.
Sits there for up to 30 years, right?
And that's up to 50,000, is that correct?
Well, closing costs can really, just based on the reality of it, it can't be more. I don't think any program allows you to have more than 6%. So 6%. Yeah, that could be easily 25,000. So that's where I say I could see maxing this thing out about 175,000 in zero interest money.
Right.
Again, I don't want to get into the weeds too much because somebody might fit. Rochelle and I can be happy to talk to you about it. See if somebody might be a good. Out of this in my first 5 seconds.
And it just blows my mind that this isn't widely publicized. So we're having to do it this way to try to get the word out. You're on our first Zoom. We wanted to see how this went over. So we'd appreciate your feedback and, maybe take the questions that you have that might help shape our next one. And we're just going to manually be starting to reach out and let people know. I do know that there's a limit every year that they're funding, correct?
Yeah. So they're going to whatever comes in, then they're going to lend it out. But if
around 50 million or something
I've heard 60 some million.
So that'll go pretty quick. So that's why we're trying to be super proactive.
We want our friends to get it.
Yes. We're trying to let everyone we know about it before everyone else.
So so there's a couple things. So this could end up. So here's a list of the groups that are already figured to be eligible. We just got to prove somebody is with one of these different groups. Black, Hispanic, Native American, Alaska Native, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, Korean, Asian, Indian, which I remember Rochelle and I were figuring that out together. That's folks from India or Pakistan, right? They're very, they want to lend this money out. They want to help people get into homes who might have been not able to do it before. So they're going to err on the side of creativity and allowing people to qualify any way they can. Again, it's a zero interest loan. And one thing I did find out down the road, because right now interest rates are higher than they have been in a while. If somebody buys one of these houses and they're paying a 7%, some of the rates are down closer to 6 right now, but you're paying a 6 or 7% rate, and rates go down to 4 or 5, and you got this big old second loan on there that is at zero interest. Well, you don't want to pay that off with another loan, right? So this is something they've never done before. They're going to allow us to refinance people into lower rates, and they'll subordinate that second loan.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that's the first time ever, because otherwise people get a little upset when they can't lower their rate.
Stuck in there. That's actually really good to hear.
We have a couple little examples of paperwork and how we qualify this. Again, this is more getting in the weeds a little bit more. We do a letter because we want to kind of come up with an example of how somebody might have been discriminated against. That's part of our document. That's what your loan officer does, right? We'll help you work with this documentation. I do all that. Your realtor doesn't really know, but it's good to know what we're planning on doing. As far as the loan programs available, it's pretty much all the loan programs out there. So we have to do it through the Washington State Housing Finance Commission. And so they have HUD, they have FHA, they have the HUD 184, which is for tribal members, VA, USDA, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. So all the loan programs. And generally, VA is a very good one with this, because a lot of people will qualify with that. And there's already no mortgage insurance, but no extra rules. It could be a 1 or 2 unit property.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know that. That's kind of new.
Okay. And up to 4 units, or
just 2? Okay. Just 2 on this one.
Okay. So somebody could buy a duplex, live in one, rent out the other, help make their mortgage payment.
And or accessory dwellings are okay too. We allow that qualifying. So there's an education. It's a 5-hour class. I teach them every couple of weeks. If you have people that might be interested, be good to have them come to one. I do them online and in person, and we have these classes. So that'd be helpful for folks that might be interested. And again, we won't waste their time if it's not a good fit. But there's a lot of other programs, by the way, that just a lot less down payment assistance, 4%, 10,000, 15,000. There's other possibilities. I wouldn't, rule somebody out of homeownership because they don't qualify for this.
Right. So, that's true. Because there are other down payment assistance programs. Just we've never seen one to this magnitude.
Yeah, and not even close. I mean, 33 years of doing this, I've never seen anything quite like this.
$150,000. So these are homes that it doesn't have to be a first-time buyer either.
Yeah.
It could be somebody who just wants to upgrade and take advantage of this. I mean, if I could take advantage of it, I would. In a heartbeat. I'd be going and buying a house. To use that.
I just gave this little, so I was sharing this with a veterans group. So I was showing them how, this is a percentage back, of the veterans who would qualify for some of these different programs, because a lot of veterans are from the non-white, races. So
looks like you have 3 minutes left.
Yeah. Yep. So, again, zero interest, up to 20% down. No, it can't be more than 150,000 plus, but the closing costs get added on top of that. It's based on need. I mean, if you're super rich, well, then you won't qualify because you can't make more than the median income for the county. It changes every county. Matter of fact, I think I might have put all the county limits in there just because overkill. But and here's the thing to know: if you're not a loan officer, don't rule somebody out or yourself out because they make more than this, because we use the qualifying income. I've had clients in the past, I've been doing these programs for many years, where we're not going to count your income. We're not going to count your overtime because we don't want you to make too much money. As long as you qualify for the loan, we find ways to reduce your money.
Okay, got it.
Or if there's a couple who make, 140,000 each, maybe we can get this, just leave one of them off the loan. They still own the house together.
Yeah.
They still get to enjoy the large down payment that they're not having to make.
So there's creative ways
around
it.
Yeah. And the more you do this, the more you find loopholes, right? And okay, well, that's pretty much what I had for this. I can only talk to this for an hour. Yeah, any questions, please?
We have like 2 minutes left. We want to be respectful of your time, but if anyone has any questions before we end this, or any feedback, we would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, any kind of feedback, constructive. What do you think about it?
I think absolutely amazing, just amazing. So that formula that you put out there for Pierce County and King County, so they have to qualify up to that. They can't, if it's more than that, it's obviously you guys can work something out.
Right, right. So they have to be, is that combined? It's a combined income, right?
That's the
But
income
like
we're
you
using
said-
for the loan. So
Yep.
some programs will have they call it compliance income, and where they go, if you've got a couple and they've got a kid that also works, they count all that income. This program is not that. This is straight up whatever the lender's using. So we can't lie, right? We're going to get their W-2s and pay stubs, but again, we're going to count their income based on how we structured the loan.
So I did have two questions. Someone I was talking to, I'm assuming the answer is no on this one, but she was wondering if she could use it as a refi on their current home.
Yeah, no.
Okay. And then the next question I had, somebody, because you have to be owner occupied, is it the same 2-year requirement, or how does that work?
Like how long you're going to live in it?
Yeah.
So here's the rule on this one to keep in mind. You're only supposed to use this while you're living there. If because we've helped a lot of people buy a house and then later rent it out and buy another house, and that's how they build their
Right.
generational wealth. And with this program, you're not supposed to keep the loan if you're not living there anymore.
Okay, got it.
And really, a lot of the down payment assistance loans are that, but
nobody
nobody verifies. I've never had one of my clients say, "Oh, I turned it into a rental and they made me pay it off."
Okay.
I mean, but that's only the last 33
And
years.
then, correct me if I'm wrong, but the only requirement of the individual borrowing the money is they have to take a 5-hour class, is it?
5-hour
Zoom class, but they just have to take it before closing. So they can,
to lock it in. So
they can
you
be
gotta-
house hunting and whatever. Okay.
smart to do the training because you're going to learn a lot.
And then as of right now, do they see an end in sight as to when this program is going to end, or is this?
I doubt it. Well, it's political, right? It was created in our state for specific. I don't think there's another one like it in any other state. So it's a based on the state keeps it going. There could end up a legal challenge. There's certain groups are not included in this. So if somebody gets turned down, they might try to take it all the way to the Supreme Court, and we'll see what happens. They're prepared for that. The Washington State Housing Finance Commission says here's what'll happen if that happens. We'll have to stall the program until we resolve it. The resolution might be including more people in it that maybe they're gonna, and they said they'll revisit it from time to time. So we may be like that. So
all righty. Well, thank you guys. We appreciate it. Thanks for hopping on last minute, and we will give me a call if you have any more questions, and enjoy the rest of this beautiful day.
Very cool.
22 minutes. So
wow,
signing off.
Awesome. We got the basics in there.
All right. Talk to you later.